right now, I'm gonna show you how to nature journal a tree, Costa Rica edition. Step number 1, don't get overwhelmed by your tree. As you can see, some trees, especially in Costa Rica, have a lot going on. Step number 2, get comfortable. Step number 3, make a heading using your metadata. There you can see my metadata right there, and I am even doing a little teeny sketch of my subject matter or the location where I am, and that's something I'm starting to do a little bit more in my metadata. Your metadata is really important information as a reference. It also turns your nature journal page into basically a scientific observation. If you have the date and the time and the location, then someone can connect an observation with a place in space and time, and that makes it into a type of data. So that's really important. And then the other important thing is that this is the way that you're breaking into your page. So you are getting rid of that blank page sort of paralysis by getting something down there. And if you have words, images, and numbers in that, that is basically a nature journal entry in and of itself. That could be your lowest standard right there. And if you're in a quick setting, I would consider that nature journaling. There's even like a species observation in here related to that tree. Now I'm just gonna jump into a drawing of this tree because it's so beautiful. I want to just spend some time drawing it without hopefully getting overwhelmed. The capuchin monkeys are going crazy behind me right now, so I'm gonna at least write that in as a note next to my tree drawing. That's one of the benefits of nature journaling a tree for an extended amount of time is the animal and other stuff that's happening around you that you can notice while you're drawing the tree. One thing that's really important for your long-term sustainability while nature journaling a tree, especially in the tropics, is to keep the sun off of your face and your eyes especially. So the sun's starting to hit me a little bit now, so I'm going to go ahead and put on my hat. Oh, someone just hit me. What? I feel like a little mosquito. For the most part, I've hardly been getting bit at this spot. Very few mosquitoes so far in this part of the jungle, which is sort of surprising to me. Anyways, so I'm feeling a little bit guilty about how this is going, so I'm struggling a little bit with some judgment because my original plan was to kind of hop and skip around and do sort of like a quick drawing of this tree and do multiple types of nature journaling, so I'm just noticing that. But I'm actually having so much fun doing this sort of more in-depth ink drawing and just really getting into the like hatching and stuff. So this could be a turning point, I could, force myself to switch gears, but I think I'm just going to give myself permission to keep playing with this ink. I mean, I love drawing with this pen. It's super fun. And this is probably like one of the ideal subjects for me, especially drawing with this type of ink. This tree is just so fun to work with. So I think instead of like forcing myself to do something different, even though that's what I like came here as my plan to do, I'm going to give myself permission to keep playing with this ink drawing technique. It's getting a lot hotter too. It's like a deer fly or some kind of biting fly that's getting into it. It hurts so bad. Okay, now that I spent super long doing a really detailed ink drawing of this tree, I'm gonna walk around it and do some more sort of nature journaling type stuff, as in, asking questions, writing down some of my observations, zooming out a little bit and noticing some of the other things that are going on. For example, if I notice any animals, like currently I'm noticing a lot of hermit crabs. So I'm just gonna take a couple little notes here. Oh, one thing I'm noticing is a lot of germinating seeds. I'm noticing all of these germinating seeds around the base of the tree. So I think I'll just nature journal those and do sort of like a quick collection. And I'll show you how I can create, to go along with my tree drawing, I can nature journal this collection in gray ink, and it's a perfect way to fill in this margin. You can also do it sometimes along the bottom. Can look really cool. Oh, I just heard the scarlet macaws. Okay, so I got like 3 main kinds of germinating. Oh, I see something else. It's monocot, it looks like. So you can see how keeping this in gray is creating a visual hierarchy here that allows for this drawing of the tree, the central drawing, to stand out. But it puts in some more information and turns this into more of a nature journal page and not just a ink drawing page. It is kind of overwhelming how cool this tree is. Just look at even all of this lichen pattern on it. I'm gonna just do some written observations. I got as many seedlings as I saw. Actually, oh wait, here we go. I just saw one other type. This looks like the seedling of a ceiba. Ceiba pitandra, I believe it is. Super cool, very important, large tree in Central America and Mexico. It was the center of the world in the Mayan cosmology. So I'm just gonna add that to my little collection there, and then I'm gonna do some written observations. Actually, I'm gonna draw one quick hermit crab here, so I have to find a hermit crab. So these types of collections work best if you can kind of arrange the drawings into a grid, because this is one of those things where there's a cumulative aesthetic effect. It also helps with organization, so I think there's an overlap between what looks good and what works good for the human mind to understand, the human eye when it looks at the page. So here you can see I have 6 items and they're structured into a grid, and that just makes it easier to understand. So now I'm gonna switch to this page, and what I'm gonna do on this page is I'm just going to do text descriptions. I'm gonna think a little bit about my composition. So maybe like I will just do this lower half of the page with text descriptions. It could even be like a haiku or whatever you want. There's a lot that you can capture with words that you can't capture with imagery. So I'm gonna do that part now. All right, so that's how that's looking with the descriptions there. I got a lot of quantification stuff in my description, so some guesses about how high above sea level this tree is, some guesses about the height of the tree, and then observations and questions about what other things live in relationship to it. So some relationship questions, which I always like to incorporate. Now I think the last touch I'm gonna do is put some sort of title, and to create a visual hierarchy, I will do a title here that's bigger than everything else. And I will still use this gray pen and maybe sort of match this outline here. And I think I'm just going to write tree. Nothing fancy or poetic there per se. The name of this tree in Spanish is matapalo, and I think that's too big for me to fit here, I think. So if you don't want to mess up your lettering, it's good to space it out, and the more you practice this, the better you'll get at freehanding it. So I just use a pencil and I will block in the letters where I think they will go. This is also really good for realizing in advance when you're gonna have descending letters. So like I have a lowercase p that I'm gonna have to deal with. So that means I don't wanna start, if I'd started with ink right here, I would have had to do something weird with that. Boom, done. This page is done, I'd say. Maybe to balance it out, some teeny little thing here, but I feel pretty good about that. How to nature journal a tree, Costa Rica edition. When you're done drawing your tree, that's a good time to treat yourself. You know, you burn a lot of calories when you're nature journaling, and to make nature journaling a habit, to turn it into a habit, it's really good to reward yourself at the end. I feel pretty good about the effort that I put in. The amount of sustained time nature journaling is the thing you should be grading yourself on. So it doesn't matter. Don't put focus on how the page looks at the end. Put focus on how much sustained time nature journaling you spend, and then reward yourself. And if you keep that up, your product will keep getting better and better. You'll keep having more and more fun, and it will be easier to motivate yourself to nature journal. So if you can't wait all the way until next week for the next episode of the show, check out this other episode where I nature journal trees. Bye.